It's time for this week's parting shots.
I don't know if I heard anything racist that he said. That's what Dana White said about Colby Covington, the UFC fighter who's turned himself into a full MAGA mascot. That's a hell of a statement from UFC's president, especially after Covington referred to Tyron Woodley, a supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, as, quote, a communist, a Marxist, someone standing up for lifelong criminals. Covington wasn't clear about who exactly the lifelong criminals were he claims Woodley stands up for, but the implications seem pretty clear. And even if that statement didn't sound racist to White, it sounds a lot like things racists tend to say. So how should media deal with this? Visible figures in sports have been banished for saying less inflammatory things, but that's harder to do when they echo the nation's head of state. One place we could start is by not broadcasting Covington's inflammatory post-fight comments. He has a right to speak. He doesn't deserve to debase the dead, and he is not entitled to our attention. It's time to stop giving it to him. This isn't about politics. It's about decency. And even by the standards of combat sports, Covington is coming up short. No red MAGA cap can mask that, and no media outlet should help him do so.
15 years after Michael Vick's I Am a Quarterback Sports Illustrated cover, the perception of black signal callers hasn't completely changed. In particular, when the most polarizing quarterback in NFL history, a black quarterback, remains unemployed. Yet Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes represent the present and future of the NFL. Both are league MVPs, Jackson being just the second unanimous MVP last season, and Mahomes the reigning Super Bowl MVP and owner of the richest contract in sports history. They're polar opposites in personalities and upbringings, while kindred spirits in appointment viewing. They face off for a third time Monday night in Baltimore. Kansas City is 2-0, though both matchups were decided by a total of 8 points. This gives the regular season signature matchup the energy of an HBCU halftime show. Jackson and Mahomes represent what the position looks like now. Fearless, charismatic, improvisational, and, well, black. They dominate in video game-like fashion because they're both human cheat codes. The NFL has fumbled tremendously on its responses to flagship issues like player safety, domestic violence, and social justice. Mahomes Jackson is a bright spot for a league in dire need of one. Are they the next Magic versus Bird or Ali versus Frazier? Jackson says he's not looking for a rivalry. Plus, it's far too premature to tell that anyway. They still have to meet in the AFC Championship game. And hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer for that.
Blame Joe Exotic, or the mysterious death of Carol Baskin's ex-husband, detailed in the docu-series Tiger King, but these large striped animals have carved out their own space in the story of 2020. So let's add another formerly cool kitten to this tale, shall we? Tom III was the most recent mascot of the Memphis Tigers, the school that had been transporting a live tiger to its home football games since 1972. Tom III died suddenly last week after a brief bout with an undetermined illness. While his death was heartbreaking, it came with a heartening announcement that the school will no longer transport a caged tiger to football games just for photo ops with fans, a decision that the organization In Defense of Animals had been calling for while Tom was still alive. It seemed like an overdue decision to end that cruel practice. The university and president, M. David Rudd, could have taken the next step and stopped having a live captive mascot altogether. Plenty of schools are just fine with an oversized costume version, right? Sadly, the school has reportedly struck a deal with the Memphis Zoo to house the next Tom, which stands for Tigers of Memphis, who'll live most or all of his life in captivity for the sake of, well, sports tradition, I suppose. In Defense of Animals is pushing for Memphis to instead sponsor a wild Tom IV and make it a win for all involved. Here's hoping Memphis does go wild, and maybe Tom IV could be the real Tiger King.
When the all-time greats near the ends of their careers, things tend to get, well, messy. The bonds that tie them to the teams they elevated start to fray. And then feelings bubble to the surface, like hurt. There are accusations of ingratitude. There are resentments, recriminations, etc. It was thus with Babe Ruth and the Yankees, Michael Jordan and the Bulls, Tom Brady and the Patriots, and now Lionel Messi and Barcelona. That relationship is now spiking off the toxicity chart. Quite possibly the greatest player ever, Messi is still magnificent. And he's not yet really old. He's 33. Still, the Barca captain is now in open rebellion against his team. Efforts to leave for Man City were thwarted by legal issues. Now, with his longtime teammate Luis Suarez unceremoniously discarded, Messi said this on Instagram: You did not deserve for them to throw you out like they did, but the truth is that at this stage, nothing surprises me anymore. Fighting words, but here's the thing. The players and the teams are often speaking different languages. The players, the language of feelings and emotion. The teams, the language of business. And if there's one thing that should be clear by now to everyone, sports at the Messi and Barca and Suarez level are a business. There's no room at the top for sentimentality. Just ask the Babe and Michael and Tom and so on.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.